Hello everybody, welcome to another Insights Time webinar with me, Rich Beresford, and Mike Boswell, Business Development Managers at Giant Finance. Today we're talking all things marketing and social, and we have our special guest this week, Holly Spires. Holly's here to answer a few questions and have a chat. Hi Holly, how you doing?
Hi. Good, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Good, no problem. You're very welcome. Do you want to just kick off by telling us just a little bit about yourself and what you do at Giant Finance?
Yeah, so I'm Holly Spires. I'm the marketing manager for the whole Giant group, which is really exciting. I started off in Finance Plus, so work with Mike and Rich quite a lot. And yeah, so now I'm doing it for the whole group, which includes Umbrella, Finance Plus, Screening, and lots of other workforce management solutions.
You are very busy. Yeah, thank you for squeezing us into your manic schedule, Hol. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. So Hol, I'll kick the quick sort of the conversation off, and you know, obviously we give advice to a lot of our clients, etc. And actually, you do the marketing on behalf of us. So we're preaching what we actually go out and do ourselves. So I know you say that quite a lot of agencies, when they come and ask you about social media, etc., saying what social platforms should we use?
Yeah, so that's a question that we get asked a lot with new agencies just starting, because I think agencies know they need to be on social media, but not sure where to start. I would say as an agency, start with LinkedIn. Sorry. Start with LinkedIn. That's where all of your candidates and your companies are. There are 722 million users. It's free to set up a company page, so it takes around 10 minutes to do it as well. It's quite straightforward. So yeah, get straight on LinkedIn. One key stat I did want to share was that actually there are each person has an average of only 17 engaged minutes a month on LinkedIn. So it's really important that your content is relevant and eye-catching. But yeah, definitely start on LinkedIn. And then from our point of view, we're on LinkedIn and Twitter. And the reason we chose the two is because they're quite different platforms in terms of the content that you post. Twitter allows us to be a little less formal and talk about the light and fluffy stuff, whereas LinkedIn isn't really that kind of place. So when you're looking, when you're thinking about what platforms you want to go on, LinkedIn is probably a no-brainer, and then think of another one, something like Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, to balance out the seriousness of your LinkedIn content.
Yeah, absolutely. I think and the balance between the posts, which we'll come on to a little while. And so okay, so you've got those two platforms, and how do you really grow your following on those platforms?
It's all about engagement. So what I would say is, if you're on social media as a person, so forget about the business of the person, what makes you engage? Don't try and recreate the wheel. What makes you actually like a post? Personally, it takes me a lot to actually physically like and engage with a post. It needs to be either really funny or really interesting or really educational. So you need to try and to grow your following if posting content that your people are going to love. Get involved in the conversation. So engage, have a voice, have an opinion. But for me, it's consistency. So posting the right content, but being consistent with your posting, that's really important.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry, Mike, I was going to ask, how often do you think you should be posting? Because I often try and make a point of posting on LinkedIn, but sometimes you don't know whether you're overdoing it, whether you should be a bit quieter. How often do you think you should be posting as a business on somewhere like LinkedIn?
That's a really good question, because you're right. Some people think I need to flood the timeline, so post 10 times a day, because then someone's bound to see me. But it's actually the opposite. You can annoy people that way, and people will unfollow you. Oh, Giant again. Two posts a day maximum is key, I think, and that seems a lot lower. People are surprised by that. People think it should be around 3 or 4, and I'd say when I started with the social media management years ago, that's where I was at, around 5 or 6. I'd say we need one company post, and then one client post, and then one fun post, but no, that's too much. You're overdoing it. As long as it's consistently 1 or 2 posts a day, that is more impactful than 10 posts on a Monday, no post Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 5 posts on a Friday. So max 2 a day. Consistency is key.
I think I think a lot of people worry about is this going to take over my life? I think I come from a banking background, and it annoys me when people just say, "Hey, look, we did a deal." Yeah, I expect you to be doing a deal, though you're supposed to be lending money, etc. Okay, but it's something. The ones that really catch me are something where it's a bit weird and wonderful. And one thing I used to do when they say I had quite a large workforce working for me is saying, when someone said, "Thanks for doing that for me," we'll think about that and say, look, let's tell the world that I can do that for people. And those little quips, rather than, oh, I've done a deal this week. It's like, we had someone who wanted X and we managed to deliver Y. And, if that rings a bell with you, please give us a contact. So, not just a hello, aren't I wonderful, but actually adding the education while still giving yourself a plug. And so that's moving us on really to, what type of content other than what we've spoken about, Holly, do you think that people ought to be using?
You're 100% right with that point, Mike, because it's not just about ticking a box with social media, right? It really is using it as a tool to showcase yourself, showcase what your business stands for, what's important to you as an agency, and get that across. I will say that in terms of content type, video is the most impactful in terms of getting engagement. I personally, again, going back to my personal experience, I know that I'm more likely to watch the first 30 seconds of a video than to read a paragraph. It's just the way we are now, and it's actually the way social media are training our brains to be. So it's not our fault. It's just now what we're used to and what we like. So video content is key. And when I say video content, that can be something like this, where you're sat down with colleagues for a few minutes, just having a conversation around what you're seeing in the market, anything you've got to share, any opinion you've got. For agencies, it's help for candidates, tips for candidates, interviews, CV. That is my pet cat tail, by the way.
Special guest.
Sorry. Or as case studies, speak to clients, speak to your candidates, and get that on video. And just share. It's all about just sharing yourself, what's important to you, how you can help your customers, in a video form is always the best way. Second best would be imagery, pictures.
I think that's vital because competitive marketplace, especially in recruitment. Why do people buy you? It's you, and actually a video tells people a lot more about you. You get all the non-verbal communication, etc., that people see to get an idea about what you're all about. And I think that's key. As I say, I share my frustrations again, where people just say, "Oh look, we've done this deal this week. I've closed out 4 deals. Aren't I wonderful?" Yeah, but oh, hang on. I've spotted this in the marketplace, or in my area, this trend is happening. I've got candidates that can help you, something a bit more impactful and a bit more helpful rather than just an advert. Yeah.
100% context. Yeah. And a bit of telling a story instead of just, we closed the deal, tell us a bit more about that. Your followers should be interested to know more. And that's what you need to work towards.
Yeah, and I think the thing that I'd leave with people is what I was saying about, when someone says thank you or you've done something, is thinking, does this give me an angle to give me a story, rather than it's 12 o'clock on Monday, I've got to scratch my head and think about something to post, because that won't work. So as long as you're dripping it out, even if it's not the same time every day, because again, I know if you really go to town and you get, search engine and social media gurus on it, they'll be saying, oh well, you'll get 10% more reads if you post it at 5 to 1 before people go off to lunch, etc. We're not talking about that level of sophistication here, but we're just trying to make life easy for you, so it helps you don't have to become a slave to social media.
Yeah, and I will just say one point on that is there are lots of tools out there so you can schedule your content. So it does not need to consume all your time. You can block out a couple of hours on the weekend, even if you wanted to get your content scheduled for the week. And also what I say is that the agencies, you've got a specific kind of unique challenge, because you're talking to candidates from all walks of life. They could be all age, from anywhere in the country, doing all types of jobs. So it's really important that your content is tailored, to what you're passionate about, what you're knowledgeable on, so that resonates with your audience, because you can get stuck in a wheel of what do my audience want to know? Well, they want to know everything, because your audience is everyone, if that makes sense.
Yeah, what some of the most interesting accounts, particularly on LinkedIn, that I follow, and people and businesses, that they are the sort of things they're posting, they resonate with me, even though I'm not necessarily in that same market, that same sector, but because they're kind of almost universal sort of posts that can apply to a lot of different scenarios, a lot of different sectors, and that, you know, they're quite often funny, engaging, you know, something that it's just a bit of a distraction for a few minutes during the day. Because it's getting that balance right, isn't it, between being too informative versus being too kind of throwaway and light. You want to get that balance right to make sure you're reaching your market, and knowing who that audience is I guess halfway to doing that.
Yeah, exactly that, Rich.
Yeah, brilliant. Well, I think we'll wrap it up there. Thanks very much, Hol. That's been fantastic. Some great points. Things that I think I've taken away. You know, overkill is easily done on social media. A couple of times a day, posting wise is ideal. You know, try and limit the amount of social platforms you're on as well. You don't want to spread yourself too thin. So some really fantastic points. Thanks very much for spending a bit of time chatting with us, Holly, today. It's been great.
My pleasure. Thank you both for having me, and thanks everyone for joining. I hope it's been useful for you.
Lovely.
Thanks, Holly. Thanks, everybody.
Cheers. Thanks.
Thank
See you next time.
Take care.